Right. So there's a lot of focus on appearances and externals. You've used the word facade before, or let me take you backstage behind the Catholic props. You said in your open letter, which is really interesting. It's like, so that's obviously a big fixture of traditionalism. Is like the externals are important, the rubrics, all these things. Like we're going to really hold these up. Did you really feel that when you were growing up in that environment, or even within your own family, like a pressure to sort of keep up appearances, or that, like everything's important, morally, but especially what's on the external, like how you dress and how you behave and all these practices and devotions and things. I mean, is that
and there definitely is a large emphasis, and of course, as you know, there's nothing wrong with externals. I mean, externals are important, but yes, the externals are overemphasized, and oftentimes the true reason for doing one of those external gestures or customs is not understood. It's not fully understood or fully accepted. And one of the things I remember encountering was that, girls would come and they would dress one way for church or in their circles, and then outside of Mass they would dress another. Even to the point of like going and wearing a bikini on the beach. So they might be dressed, to the nines in a skirt that comes below the knee, and then when they're on vacation, they were in bikinis. So for a lot of us, the externals, it's only skin deep. It's what we do because we're a part of this group, this community. But the true spirit behind why you would do that is not necessarily fully understood or fully embraced. And I mean, there are some people, of course. I mean, it's not true across the board that some people don't understand, that some people don't embrace the spirit of the thing as well. Because I've met many people who did, but yeah, the emphasis on the externals is definitely a large feature.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's one thing specifically about like women veiling in church that I've noticed. I've never met an older woman who, veiled before, the reforms were put into place, who understood anything about why she was doing it. It was just what we always did. And it was a relief when I didn't have to, because my kids weren't pulling it off all the time or whatever. It just wasn't something I didn't have to put a Kleenex in my head when I ran into church every, thing. And I was like, okay, I grew up without it. And it was foreign to me. And when I found it as a teenager, I was like, well, veiling is really cool. I wonder why you would do that. And I looked into it. And then I was like, well, the church doesn't require it anymore, but it's still a valid option. And I thought, maybe this is why the church removed the requirement, because it gave people the opportunity, if they felt like it was oppressive, they weren't bound to it anymore. And then it gave them the opportunity to discover it again and decide voluntarily to assume that practice because of its merit. And so now I see more and more women veiling. And I know when I see a woman veiling, at least in a Novus Ordo parish, I know that she's doing it because she found out about it and decided that was something that was going to help her prayer. And, and she's doing it for good reasons. She's not just doing it because other people are doing it. And I'm like really edified by that. I think it's very liberating, and it's cool to see people come back. It's like, if it's a good thing, it will come back. It will prove its own merit if it's really, if it's really got value. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.